Hosting provided by PCRWebSolutions.com and sponsored by PCR Tech. This week featuring great new Windows 7 PCs without the bloatware. Designed with you in mind. Visit PCRTech.com and click Store for more information. Welcome back, everyone, to the PCR Tech News Podcast, your latest tech news with no apologies. I'm Troy King from PCR Tech, and this is episode 41, aired on January 29th, 2010. PCR Tech News: everyone is entitled to be stupid, but some abuse that privilege. Well, they have done it. Apple has unveiled the new iPad, the new tablet PC from Apple, and we'll get to that in just a moment. I'm sure you want to hear all about it, but let's pay tribute to some other tech news. The summer of 2010 is going to be a summer of 3D. Most TV manufacturers have unveiled their plans for releasing 3D home theater entertainment equipment by the summer here. So you'll have your 3D HD TV, your 3D Blu-ray player with 3D movie, and your 3D active shutter glasses. And you have to have all of those components or it won't work. But there will, however, be a lot of support for these new rigs. You'll have a number of TV channels that will start coming in 3D. ESPN says they're going to have 85 channels by midsummer. Sony's working with Disney and IMAX to have their own channel. And you're going to have Hollywood producing all sorts of 3D Blu-ray discs. The only trouble that I can see brewing on this one is that you have to have the glasses for the whole thing to work. And some 3D glasses from one manufacturer may not be compatible with other TVs. So, for example, if you go over to your buddy's house to have a summer 3D movie event, and you bring your own glasses from your Samsung 3D TV and he's got a Sony, your glasses may not work with his TV. So your buddy's going to have enough glasses to go around, which could be quite expensive. But we'll see how this goes. But honestly, some people haven't even made the switch, or they're still struggling with the switch to the whole digital TV conversion. So I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be enough people buying into this to earn the industry any money, but we'll see. Researchers are now using a genetically modified of E. coli bacteria to make biodiesel fuel. And the whole goal of this is to reduce costs from using wood chips and corn and other materials to make the biodiesel fuel. They use this genetically modified bacteria to break down the stuff they need. And there's your fuel. And it may take a couple of years to refine the process, but in the end they hope it will reduce the costs of biodiesel, which is always a good thing and less strain on our farming economy. Alright, now that other stuff is done and out of the way, let's get to the iPad. I'm sure you're just drooling to hear all about it. When I was trying to research yesterday, all the tech news feeds were all aflutter with iPad. I couldn't get any other good news stories, so it's fine. We'll talk about the iPad this week and move on next time. Anyways, let's get to what exactly is the iPad and what is Apple's goal with this device. In short, it's their answer to the netbook. It's an affordable computer-type solution. It's designed to browse the web, maybe listen to some music, check out your photos, and do some word processing and whatnot, and that's about it. There's no optical drive or any of those types of things, just like a netbook, but it's done the Apple way, and it's not even running Mac OS X. It's running the iPhone operating system, but it's been modified exclusively for the iPad, so it's not some crazy port where things aren't going to work right. No, this is it's an Apple device, so it's going to be very high quality. So let's get into some of the specs of this device. The processor is an A4 custom Apple-made processor, and it runs at 1 gigahertz. And the hard drive comes in 3 different flavors: 16 gig, 32 gig, or 64 gig. The screen is 9.7 inches, a resolution of 1024 by 768 with 132 pixels per inch. which means that it's going to be featuring HD playback at 720p. So it's very nice, clear, sharp images, very cool for a relatively small device. The iPad does not have a keyboard, but rather, or a physical keyboard, but it's on screen. There's been some criticism that because there is no haptic feedback, meaning it doesn't vibrate when you touch it, you're really going to have to use your eyes to navigate on the keyboard, because obviously it's a touch screen. There's not going to be any raised bumps or any of that sort of thing like a typical keyboard. As far as wireless connectivity goes, the base models of each hard drive size will be Wi-Fi only, but shortly after the Wi-Fi only models are released, for an extra $130 per model, you'll be able to get 3G wireless connectivity powered by AT&T's network. You can use it on T-Mobile's network, but you're not going to get the 3G speeds because they use different frequencies. The nice thing about the 3G service is that you can get it through AT&T for only $30 a month, unlimited. That's amazing. And then to top it off, it's on a monthly basis. There is no yearly contract, so you can have it for 1 month and do your traveling or whatever, and then turn it off the next month and not have to pay an extra dime or early termination fees, none of that. So it's really kind of upsetting some parts of the industry, because iPhone users are on this tiny screen and they got to pay the $50 a month, and they're getting their bandwidth squashed. So really cool service how they're doing that. Now you might say, well, with this huge HD screen cooking and 3G, and how is the battery life? Well, it's going to give you 10 hours of pretty decent usage. So it'll get you through a good long plane ride, that's for sure. And you'll be able to get on the iBook store, which Apple's partnering with 5 different companies, including Amazon, to sell iBooks, which will range in price from $7.50 to $14.50. So interesting how Amazon is going to be working with a competitor. Okay, so that's all the good stuff. Now for the constructive criticism. Now I said constructive criticism. There's always room for improvement, even from Apple. So no offense here, guys. It's just, it is what it is. So here's what people say are the drawbacks for the iPod, or iPad. Boy, that's going to be hard. If the iPad is meaning to compete with the Amazon Kindle, you may have a tough time, because the Kindle uses e-ink, where it looks like you're reading on a piece of paper. The iPad, however, uses a backlight, an LED screen, which does hurt and put strain on the eyes over time. So that's kind of a drawback there. Also, the web browser does not support Flash. Flash by nature consumes a lot of CPU power, and maybe Adobe needs to really focus on making it not be so consuming. However, it does draw back from a netbook, because netbooks, your browser can do anything and view any website. On the iPad, you're going to have some limits on what you can view because you can't get that Flash support. But maybe they'll work on something down the road, hopefully. Also, the iPad does not have a camera, meaning you can't do any video conferencing with the unit. Also, there is no micro SD card or SD card slot or USB connection. There is a 30-pin USB SD card reader dongle that you can get to connect, but it would be nice just to have a plain old USB port on there so you can connect your flash drive and transfer some stuff over if you need to. Another drawback is that while the iPad does display 720p HD content, it does not output to TV in HD. You have to get it's either 576p or 480p VGA connection or component video. So, and again, it's kind of weird why they just didn't stick an HDMI port on there and call her good, but whatever, maybe the next time around. Also, another question's been raised, what about printing? Can you print to a standard printer? Because obviously you're going to be creating some documents. It does come with iWork software. So how are you going to print stuff? Well, these are things that are going to have to be answered over time, and I'm sure Apple's got a plan. But one thing I do not like is dongles.